So, firstly, it happened with when I got the truck initially. So when I got the truck initially, we filled out the title transfer paperwork, in which I was under the assumption, there's a lot of assumptions here that I'm trying to save people time, essentially, but I was under the assumption that I could just take this piece of paper to my local DMV and then I could just simply register the truck. We made a mistake on that piece of paper. And that piece of paper, the mistake was that we didn't fill out the VIN correctly. We scratched it out and then put in the correct VIN. Don't do that. It sucks, but don't do that. Get a duplicate copy. If you're, for people who are doing this process, if you're trying to do this, get duplicate copies of things that are blank or whatever so that you can fill them out again if need be. Because DMV, when I went to the DMV in my local area, they didn't like that it was scratched out. They considered that altered. So that was the first of many problems. And it took me a couple of weeks to solve that one because the guy that I bought the truck from simply wanted to, or he wasn't wanting to do anything. He didn't want to do anything. It's just that he was out on the road. I bought a truck from an active trucker that was going out on the road. So that was that. And it took me 2 weeks to get that solved because I had to get another form printed out because I don't have a printer. And yeah, I don't have a printer, so I had to print it out and get all that stuff done. And then we screwed it up again. And then I had to go back to the DMV twice. And one of the reasons why I had to go back to the DMV twice is because they kept saying that the vehicle was still a part of a fleet, which it wasn't. Because I called to his person that does the DOT paperwork for him, and she said that they released it from the fleet. And when I went there, I'm like, this was released from the fleet, and they're like, oh, well, you know, it's not. And I'm like, okay, fine. So at that point, that's when I switched over to motor carrier, doing things through motor carrier. So now in the state that I'm in, Utah, we have a DMV and we have motor carrier services. If you have motor carrier services, I highly suggest going through them unless you're only going to be local, okay? If you're going to be local, it's fine to go through the DMV because all you need is a DOT number and that's it. If you're going through multiple states, such as myself, you need operating authority and a DOT number. All that stuff was super easy to do. That's the other thing that I forgot to mention. Getting the LLC, getting the DOT number, getting the authority and whatnot, all that stuff was easy. Getting IFTA was easy, but it's this registering of the truck that was the hard part. Registering the truck was the hard part. I had to get something known as an IRP. Found out what that was. I had to fill it out. And then I had to submit a bunch of different forms, like a P65 something. There was like 7 different forms that I had to fill out just to get it registered so that I can go over the road. And IFTA was one of them. Sales tax was another one that I had. Those are the couple of accounts that I had to create in order to do my business. Those are the couple. And then the other one was the IRP account. And the IRP account, it handles your appropriated, it's the International Registration something. I can't remember what the last two are. But it basically makes it so that you're it's commercial registration, essentially. It's only for commercial vehicles. So getting that done was a super big pain in the ass because I needed the title to the truck. I was having issues with getting the title to the truck. And then I had to fill out a title replacement. I had to get the actual title itself signed over into my name. And that took a while because the financial institution that I called, I thought, because we did the deal at the financial institution, I paid off the loan of his to buy the truck, and they were going to send me the title, is what I thought, but apparently not. So they didn't send me that title until I literally called them and said, hey, I need this title sent to me. And it showed up a week later, which I was super thankful for. I had to meet up with the guy one more time so that we could sign that. And that alone, that took a couple of weeks. Again, like, I started registering this truck almost as soon as I bought it. So I bought the truck, I want to say like a month or two ago. And I started trying to register it like a week later. And it was a grind for sure. There's a lot of things that I didn't think that I was going to have to pay for that I did. And the other thing about getting the truck registered that I didn't need to do, that I found out, I didn't need to have my truck actually like inspected, DOT inspected. To be fair, I'm glad I did, because they did find issues with my truck, active air leaks and stuff like that. But yet another bill that I wasn't expecting. And that ended up being almost $1,600 because the mechanics broke a fitting in my transmission's air tank. And then I had to go get it from a parts center, otherwise they were going to charge me more money for them to go get it. So I went in to go get it because I needed the truck done at a certain amount of time. And I eventually, I went to go get it and they ordered the wrong stuff. And I had to go back to that same place. Fantastic, right? At this point in time, I know the story is slightly convoluted, but at this point in time, I was going with a different company. I wasn't going to operate under my own authority. I was going to operate under another company's authority and DOT number. So I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. That's when I had the problem with them, because they would not. So registration on my side stalled, and I couldn't get it registered because I couldn't get it registered on my side because the contract that I signed with them didn't have an end date on their contract. And the state of Utah will not accept that because they need to have it with an end date. And this is like 2 weeks ago when this happened. And so I was planning on going with this company. I was planning on using that company and like getting my truck like registered myself with operating under their authority, right? That's what I was planning on. And then they took that decision all the way, like, because I said that I needed a contract that they have with an end date, because it didn't have one. It was just a perpetual contract with no draws or anything like that. No like strings or pulls or anything like that. So I called my representative saying that, with the company, saying that I need a contract with an end date. They took that all the way up the ladder to the CEO of that company, and he said no. And I'm like, okay, where do you want to continue from at this point? And they're like, well, we'll just register it with us instead. And I'm like, okay, so what do you need from me? And they're like, oh, well, we need, the title, we need to do this, and then a couple other things. And the title's the one that jumped, like, it already stopped right there, because they needed a title in my name. And I told these guys that I just bought the truck. At this point, it was a month ago. And I'm like, I just bought the truck, so I can't get the title in my name unless I register it. So they couldn't register it without a signed title that's in my name, and I couldn't get a title in my name unless I titled it myself, in which that I would have to pay the entire sales tax of the purchase that I had, which was close to like, I got the truck for about 20 grand, and the sales tax on that here in Utah is 7%. It would have been like $1,900. Now, funny thing is that I'm realizing now, it's about how much I paid to get all the rest of the stuff done anyway. So I cut it off with that company because the amount of benefits and whatnot that they had were not good for me anyway. I mean, they were, but they weren't. They had fuel cards and savings on maintenance and whatnot, but it wasn't more than I could get from someone else. So I completely cut off from that, and I started doing my own paperwork and started getting under my own authority. Because if I didn't go under my authority, I would have wasted almost I almost would have wasted $3 to $4 grand in insurance, making the labeling for the truck on that one video where I have the DOT number and the MC number. That would have been down the drain because I would have had to take it back off, because you can't have two numbers on your truck. Otherwise, they're going to think that, oh yeah, you're doing something shady. So I started doing stuff from myself. Again, this is 2 weeks ago. And then I came to the realization that I need a trailer. So I had to find a trailer. Luckily, that was super easy, and it was fairly cheap, and it's a decent enough trailer. It's not the best, it's not the worst. Again, you guys saw that video, sort of. And I go to get the trailer, and I'm doing all the paperwork. And every time that I mess up on a thing, I have to redo the document while I'm doing my 9 to 5, and I have to, just do all that all at once. And it's grating on the soul to do that, just so you know. These have been really stressful and defeating weeks. And I don't want to come back to the channel until I have something that you guys can actually watch, or I can explain, or whatever. So, a week or so goes by of just me fixing documents, sending them, me fixing documents, sending them back, them telling me that they're wrong, sending it back and forth for like a week. And then we're finally at the last hurdle. And the last hurdle, I can't even remember what form it was. I kept sending in documents, forgetting to sign them. And I'm like, crap. So I get the trailer though. I'll get back to that other thing. I get the trailer, I picked it up. And when I picked up the trailer, I hooked up to it, and no lights on the trailer at all. Plugged in the power, no lights on the trailer. And I'm like, ugh. And so I had the guys that I bought the trailer from look at it, plug in a light box for the trailer specific to check the lights that were working and whatnot, and the lights were working. So I'm like, oh great, it's something wrong with my truck again. So I had to put my truck back into the shop. Put my truck back into the shop. They figured out what the problem was. They gave me, or I replaced both the primary line to my trailer, and I replaced the emergency line, the air lines to my trailer. They had him replace the entire power cord to my trailer to make sure everything was good to roll, and now I have lights. And then as I was driving it from there to put it someplace where I can actually put it in a yard, that's the other thing that happened, is that I had a yard that was good until the city that the guy lives in actually became a city, and they said, you need to get all those heavy vehicles off your lot. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's another thing that I got to deal with. So I go through the same app that I used before in order to find a truck parking spot locally to me. I go and reserve a spot, and I'm pulling my trailer out of the shop, and my truck out of the shop. Everything is good. So as I'm pulling my trailer out of the shop, I noticed that one of my turn signals isn't working. I'm like, okay, maybe they'll fail me, maybe they won't, but I didn't have time to worry about it. I go down to my new location to park my truck, and there is no way that I'm getting a 53-foot trailer and my truck into the space. So I had to just take it back to TA in where I live. There's a TA like 20 miles down the road. I had to take it back to the TA 20 miles down the road where I live and park it there. This is all happening this weekend, or this last weekend. So I park it at TA, and we're getting all the stuff lined up for my IRP and the cab card and the trailer cab card. So on Monday, I go to the Division of Motor Carrier, because one thing that I cannot do, I can do most of it online, but I cannot electronically send titles over. They need the physical copy of the title so that they can write down all the information that you put on there when you purchase the vehicle or trailer or whatever, so they can get a new title made, right? So I had to do that, and then I had a trailer inspection. I needed to have that trailer inspection because in Utah, if it's titled in Utah, you don't need an inspection, but if it's out-of-state title, you need it to be inspected. So I pulled up to the TA again in Tooele because I was already parked there anyway. I had them do a DOT inspection on my trailer. And of course, the thing that they failed me for was the thing that I was hoping that they would just let slide, but obviously they can't. I'm glad they didn't because I need to be able to indicate my turns. So another $150 there to replace a light and do the trailer DOT inspection. And then that leads us up to yesterday. I was fixing stuff, making sure everything was good, and then they send me a bunch of emails of things that I need to either pay for or fix. I needed to do a 2290, which is a HVUT form, which is a heavy vehicle use tax, because the IRS needs a cut for taxes. So I had to do that. And then I had to do something else. I can't remember. There was no, that was the one thing that was wrong with the truck. As soon as I submitted that 2290, my truck was good at that point. And that leads us up to today. So today, or last night, they sent me an email saying that there was something wrong with my trailer. And I'm like, what's wrong with my trailer? And then they indicated that on my VIN inspection form, or my DOT inspection, I only had a partial VIN number. This is why it comes back to the thing that I was talking about earlier with the titles. If it's titled in Utah, you don't really need a DOT number. If it's not titled in Utah, you don't need an inspection. If it's titled in Utah, or not titled in Utah rather, you need to get a DOT inspection done for that piece of equipment. So they only put the last 6 digits of my trailer VIN number on the inspection form. So I made a call to TA last night saying, hey, I just got my trailer inspected there literally yesterday, and I need the entire VIN number to be on that inspection report. And they're like, okay. So I go through the whole process with the lady there, and then she emails me the VIN inspection report. I then sent that last night to them. They received it, and they're like, okay, we just need you to pay for this one thing. And then I paid for that one thing. I waited all day until I got the email about 30 minutes ago, that both my truck and trailer are registered. And it is such a huge relief that they're both registered. Because like I said, it has literally been 2 months of me doing this. And this is not even the longest amount of time that I've heard people trying to register their truck. The lady that I've been working with at the motor carrier division in Utah, first of all, absolute saint. She is definitely gonna get a Christmas card or an Amazon card for Christmas this year. 100% gonna get that. But super nice, super helpful, and walked me through the process, told me what each form was actually for, rather than just signing and putting in the information. And she actually explained, why do we need this and all this other stuff. That way, because I'm doing the paperwork myself, I want to know. I'm not just passing it off to a company that would charge me $200 or something to maintain it. I'm doing it myself, I'm maintaining it myself. But she was really nice, super helpful, very, very helpful. And all of the people down at the Division of Motor Carriers in Utah, really helpful people, really nice. And they'll get, if you need to get something done, they'll get it done. Because I called in today because I sent that email in the morning saying that I paid for that thing in the morning, And I then called like literally an hour ago to him saying like, hey, I just want to let you guys know I already paid for that thing. She's like, okay, I'll let the representative know that you paid for that thing, and we'll hopefully get it done today, because there's filing periods and whatnot. And yesterday was the last day to file for the financial quarter, and this day is a brand new day for the financial quarter. So there was that, and then so they were pretty swamped, and literally an hour after I called them, they got it sorted out, sent me my trailer cab card and my truck cab card. So it's official. My business is good to go. It's official now. Oh, so good. I know that was a very long rant, and because a lot happened. And while I was doing all this, again, I was juggling a 9-to-5 job, and I had to take days off in order to actually get it to work. So for those of you who are thinking about doing this, you're probably going to have to take some days off of your 9-to-5. You can't do it on the weekend. It's something that you have to be there for, because these places that you're going to be submitting paperwork to and trying to get stuff done, and you need to physically bring in things, they close at 5. And if you work a 9-to-5, you're screwed, right? Because literally if you work those hours, then you're screwed, because you can't do it. And for me, it was, I would wake up at like 7 o'clock, I would go to work at like 7 a.m. or something like that, and I wouldn't get off until 7 o'clock at night. So I couldn't do anything, so I had to do everything electronically. I couldn't go inside or anything. But it's been a very long process, but we are good to go. So I'm going to take another minute to describe how the videos are probably going to go for this channel moving forward. If there's something big that's happening that deserves its own video that's going to be like a couple minutes long or something, I will do it like that. So say that I decide to get my truck repainted, or I decide to like bring it in for service, or not even service, something big that is like whatever, I'll record it as a separate video. For the day-to-day stuff that I'm going to be doing, which I plan on running Monday through Friday, maybe into Saturday, depends on how it goes, but on those videos where it's a day-to-day come to work with me kind of thing, I'm going to record it in one video, essentially. I'm going to record snippets of like the morning, when I go to like my lunch time, my break, my 30-minute break, and I'm going to record a tiny snippet at the end of the day. That's what I'm going to do for every single day that I'm working, and I'm going to also video stuff that happens, or if I'm frustrated or whatever. But that's how the videos of this channel are going to go. I know that this has been quite a mouthful, and it's a very long video. I can already see how long it is. But I appreciate everyone watching till the end. Again, if you guys have any questions about stuff, I'm not an expert, but I can probably lead you in a good direction. Go ahead and put them down in the comments below, because I know that there's at least some people that are wondering, can you be a truck driver? How hard is it? All that other stuff. But it's surprisingly harder than I thought it was going to be. That's what I'll leave you with. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. Be sure to subscribe to see some more.